Hi again, friends. I am Bethany Benz Whittington. I am a PCUSA pastor and teacher. And one of my very favorite things to do with my theological education is taking what I know and applying it to everyday life. So that's what I'm doing with this current events series. And this is current events for September the 13th, 2023. And it's going to be kind of like a sermon, but I will say things that your pastor probably won't, so should be good fodder for discussion. So let's jump in. Today, we are talking government shutdown. I know that we recently did politics, but this is a bit different, especially if anyone in your congregation works for the federal government and is deemed non-essential. It's not this distant thing. It is, in fact, very, very personal for so many of us. So let's get into it. First, we're going to pause, and I would like for you to start by reading Matthew 9:35 through 38, and then come back and we'll go. So, I have a friend from seminary whose wife is a park ranger at a national park. She's an historian, a brilliant human. She works closely with school-age children who come on field trips. She translates documents. She does reenactments. She is truly, truly a do-it-all ranger. And she wears a hat like Smokey the Bear. So when one of the shutdowns a few years ago happened, she remarked that it's really weird and hurtful to be deemed non-essential and to suddenly lose your livelihood because Congress can't get its act together. And she's right, I think. So I imagine a lot of government workers feel this way. I remember The West Wing. If you were or are a fan, there's this moment when right after the government shuts down, Donna looks around and she is stricken by the notion that her job is non-essential. Her face contains all of these feelings. So the implications of this are incredibly far reaching, not just people who work in the White House or as park rangers, but mail carriers and the IRS and the Social Security offices. So it's people who need services as well. During the last shutdown, there was an FBI agent who was thwarting a plot to attack the White House, all while not getting paid for doing his job and paying his own way to do his job. So the stories like that of who and where and what, they're endless, honestly. So just a few days ago, a congressperson named Ralph Norman said, "I'd rather shut the government down than sign on to this bipartisan budget deal." And that, I think, speaks volumes. In any type of hardline negotiation, there will be winners and losers. But it's worth noting here that when the government shuts down, people in Congress still get paid. So Ralph Norman, who wants to shut their government down, will still get paid. So it got me thinking then about the church's response. And I did a really dumb thing and I Googled the Bible and job loss. Don't do it. It was a smorgasbord of what not to say when someone is hurting type of suggestions. Lots of don't worry and just have faith and if God so clothes the flowers of the field. I found it entirely unhelpful, as I think I would if I were feeling the weight of uncertainty that comes with especially a government shutdown as a government worker. But still, to consider this very practical matter from a theological perspective, there had to be some help from the Bible, right? Yes. So before we got into this, I had you read this passage from Matthew. Just a few words that I want to focus on here when it says, "And he had compassion for them." It doesn't say that Jesus necessarily did anything or offered any platitudes or jumped to their rescue. It just says that he had compassion. Jesus shows up for people in his life with compassion. That's it. Now, we know from this and other passages and other biblical accounts that Jesus will, in fact, perform miracles like feeding the hungry or healing the sick. But in this instance, the crowds are harassed and helpless, probably feeling anxious or panicked or tired or fearful or any number of really upsetting things, and not really miracle territory, I guess. So, Jesus, the compassionate priest, is simply with them. I'm a parent of two very high energy kiddos. And I know that when they're really upset, if I match their energy, it will only make the situation worse. It is my job to bring a very chill and calm vibe to the situation. It's my job to comfort and hear their pain and help them get to the other side of it. Then, once they're calm, we can work on solutions. So, this is Jesus, essentially a parent to toddlers, bringing his chill wisdom to anxious, hurting crowds. And this is our role as well when met with friends, neighbors, church members facing the very real possibility of indefinite job loss, furlough, who knows? That's the thing about a government shutdown. No one really ever knows quite how long it will go on. Should I get a new job? Will this be over soon? Can I go back trusting I and my family will be okay? It's so complicated. So, this is a great opportunity then to ask ourselves for real, what would Jesus do? He doesn't try to fix it. He brings calm to the storm of anxiety and fear, which helps us all get through. And then after that, we can move on to practical solutions and offers of help and so on. But as every Instagram mom out there has ever taught me, feelings first. We do feelings first. So you have got a discussion guide in the notes of this video. I hope that you will take some of this and talk about it, that the questions are helpful for you, and that you will come back next week for whatever the current event is going to be. So I will see you then, friends.